Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hope that you are all doing well and staying safe. Here is Mariam Shref, a senior petroleum engineering student at the Lebanese American University. Welcome to the third lecture of our course, Develop and Enhance Personal and Organizational Leadership Skills, presented by a distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Mohamed Elshoura. He is a believer in change with an open mindset for new experiences, practices, and challenges. A passionate, diversified learning and talent management professional with more than 15 years of dedicated experience in training delivery, workshop facilitation, program design, curriculum development, executive coaching, and human development within a variety of corporates, cultures, and industries. Moreover, he has been working closely with line managers to achieve goals and objectives, and with HR teams to establish systems and learning solutions to manage local and regional projects. Mr. Elshoura holds a master's degree in organizational psychology from Liverpool John Morris University and a Bachelor of Political Science from the American University in Cairo. He is a professional certified coach from the International Coaching Federation with dual specialization, executive life coach, and a certified manager from the Institute of Certified Professional Managers at James Madison University. Finally, he facilitated and designed more than 200 training workshops. So please help me in welcoming again Mr. Elshoura. So welcome and thank you for your collaboration. On a final note, if you have any question related to the presentation, please feel free to drop it down in the Q&A section. Now, without any further ado, Mr. Elshoura, the mic is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Mariam, very much for this introduction. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for organizing these series of lectures and this wonderful initiative. Welcome, everyone. This is my second lecture in the series lecturing about personal and organizational leadership. Again, I'm really happy to be with you here now. And I was so enthusiastic and excited about this initiative, and I wish you all the best. As Mariam just mentioned, during the lecture, if you have any questions or queries, please write them down. So we will try to keep time at the end of the lecture for your questions. Okay, so again, we're still talking about leadership. In the last lecture, we've been talking about coaching, this important concept of coaching and how is it important as a leadership tool and skill at the same time. Why we said it is important? We said it's important because it's a very empowering tool. If you remember last lecture, what do you mean by empowering tool? What we mean by empowering tool is that it does not provide an easy solution. Coaching is not mentoring. Coaching is not teaching, advising, or consulting. Coaching is very different approach. Coaching is based on raising questions. Coaching has nothing to do with providing answers or providing easy solutions. This is mentoring, okay? So the coaching school, the school of coaching is very empowering. That's why a leader who uses coaching with employees, with subordinates, with colleagues, the aim of coaching is to empower people. In other words, to answer a question with a question. Okay, we're not gonna play games, I know. And I also want to tell you something very important. Coaching is not an approach that we use in our whole entire life. We live by coaching in all situations. Okay, like for example, do you want to watch a movie? What do you think? Do you want to drink now? What do you think also? Do you want to go out? Going out is gonna be tiring or is gonna be fun now? Okay, so coaching is not what I mean is coaching is not a way of life. It's just a tool that we use in particular situations to empower others. So as a leader, you are not required to be a coach all the time. I tell you an example about coaching. You know, when my 10-year-old son come and ask me that he can't find his toy. Okay, he came and asked me, "Oh, Daddy, I can't find my toy." In this situation, I have two options. I can either go with him and search for his toy myself. I search for it and then find it and give it to him. This is one option. The other option that I sometimes use is to start raising questions. Where have you searched? Have you searched all the expected places? Do you think there are some places that you haven't searched in yet? Where do you think you left it last time? So after answering a series of questions, he goes, he disappears for 2 minutes, and then he comes with his story. So which approach do you think is more empowering than the other? The second approach is more empowering. Why is more empowering? Because I did not give him the toy in his hand. I just tried to help him with questions. But at the end of the day, he himself, he did the effort, he went, he searched, and he got the toy. So this is empowering because next time when he loses his toy, he will start thinking about the questions that I have already raised. And he will start thinking, okay, before going and ask my daddy, I have to search better. I have to think about other areas that I haven't searched for. So he will do more effort, he will do a better job to find this toy. So actually, this is how this approach is empowering. Of course, it differs from managerial levels, from students to employees, but at the end of the day, coaching is coaching. Okay, coaching is coaching. It's empowering by raising questions, by lighting dark parts. These questions light dark parts inside our brains and make us enhance our thinking and make us think better or think from different perspectives, think about different approaches that we haven't thought about before. This is the main idea behind coaching. We talked about coaching, how empowering it is, and how it's a very important leadership tool. And we talked also about the most important skills that should be present in a coach. Okay. And if you can remember, we talked about listening. Okay. Listening is the coach's main tool. You will never be able to ask the right question except unless you listen very, very well. Active listening. And we remember we said the difference between active and attentive listening. Attentive listening, I'm just listening to you. Yes, I'm listening. I can hear everything you're saying and I'm really attentive, but I'm not interacting. I'm not giving you any signs that I'm receiving your message. I'm not rephrasing. I'm not asking back I'm not trying to clarify some information. I'm not trying to ask questions. I'm not trying to give you any kind of feedback to make sure that I am receiving the message. So active listening is listening with passion, listening with interaction, listening by giving all sort of verbal and non-verbal clues to the sender that I am listening. Can you imagine that you are talking to someone for 5 continuous minutes, for example, and this someone for the whole period is just keeping this mask face? He can hear you very well and he is listening. He's an attentive listener, but he's never an active. But when he starts to raise his eyebrows, when he starts to ask you questions, when he starts to probe, to rephrase, oh, so do you mean so and so and so? Am I right? And correct me if I'm wrong. So this is the type of interactive or active listening. And we said that this is the major important tool that should be present within a coach. Okay, so last time we were talking about coaching from a very theoretical perspective and how it's important and how it's empowering. And we were defining the concept of coaching and comparing it with other similar concepts. Okay, today I will start the first part of the lecture by talking to you about some applications, how to apply coaching, how to practice coaching. Okay, so I will be talking to you about this practice, the practice of coaching. There is a certain model that we will be going through now. It's called the GROW model. This model help you practice coaching with others, with friends, with subordinates, with colleagues. And after we finish this small part, we will watch two videos, and then we will start our new topic about emotional intelligence. Okay. So let's watch this video, and please, while watching this video, try to concentrate and try to take notes. Try to make to take notes on what was going wrong with this video, what was going wrong with this conversation. Okay, so I leave you with the video. I just want to make sure that you can all listen very well. You can all see the video very well, and you can all listen well. Can I see answers in the chat box, please? Audio is off. Okay. Okay. So, Marine, can you please help me with this? I'm trying to play a video, and
It's not.
some people. Is there a problem playing a video?
If you
So
can reshare your screen, maybe the problem can be solved this way.
again, please, if I can.
Reshare the screen, the PowerPoint.
Okay, so I stop sharing, then I reshare, right?
Yes, maybe it can
Okay.
work.
Okay.
Okay, still
Is
no
it
audio.
working?
No,
Not working?
no.
Okay, no problem. No problem at all. Okay, so anyways, just not to get delayed with this video, I will try to fix this sound issue and try to play it maybe next time. So actually, that was a video about someone who is coaching, a person who was coaching another one, and he fell in many mistakes that people do with coaching, like not listening well, interrupting, receiving phone calls, jumping to conclusions without being active listening. So that was the aim behind the video, to know what were the different mistakes that the coach fell into in this situation. Anyways, I will skip it for now due to this technical issue. Okay, so I will go to this model. As I just mentioned to you, we will be discussing how to practice coaching. And of course, just to make it clear, so we are trying here to discuss different important topics related to leadership. One of them is coaching. So coaching is a very huge topic. Okay, so I cannot tell you that after this lecture you will be good coaches. Absolutely no. So we're just giving you some clues, not actually not just for this topic about coaching, for all the topics that I have discussed so far, uh, for leadership, empowerment, delegation, coaching. What we are doing in these 4 lectures is that we are just highlighting important topics so that you can go and start researching. So absolutely, 4 lectures about leadership, each one is 1 hour, is not enough to give you a full view about leadership. People keep studying leadership for years. Coaching, I personally, I studied coaching for more than a year. So when just what you can do best for yourselves to take notes about some key concepts that you can keep researching afterwards. Okay, so a coaching, one of the very effective coaching models is the grow model, the grow coaching model. What does grow coaching model means? G stands for a goal. Okay, and it goes exactly with this sequence. Goal, what do you mean by goal? When I sit with any of my clients in a coaching session, a very simple direct question, I raise a very simple direct question. What do you want to achieve by the end of the session? Very simple, because this session is his, is not mine. The coachee is the one who's leading, and I want to know his objectives, not my objective. So the first question you ask, even if you're coaching any of your employees, colleagues, or friends, what do you want to achieve? Why I am asking this question, you will know also because by the end of the session, I will ask the coachee to evaluate if his objective was reached or not, or has he reached 70%, 50 on a scale from 1 to 10. How will you rate the achievement of your objective from this session? So it's very important to keep track. It's very important to know from the person who is being coached, what does he or she want to achieve from this session. So G stands for the goal. We start with the goal. The goal provides clarity and focus for the conversation. Okay, there is no coaching session without having a goal or an objective. What we want to achieve by the end of this session, what do we want to achieve by the end of this conversation? Okay, this is the first thing, goal. The other one, the R stands for reality. And by reality, we mean understand the situation and the context. In this step, we want to raise questions to know the details. What happened? Why are you here? What went wrong? What do you want to talk about today? A very general, open-ended question that give you details. These details we call, according to this model, we call reality. Okay? So reality, by reality we mean understand the situation and the context. So G is the goal. We start by deciding the goal. Then we go to discover the details through reality questions to know the details about the topic. And then we go to the O. O stands for options. Honestly, I love this options step because I believe this is the uniqueness of coaching. Coaching is unique because you as a coach help the coachee explore different options and different alternatives. So in this stage, after you set the goals and after you start to discover the reality, the details, you start to ask the coachee about the options. What have you tried? Have you tried all the options? What do you think you could have done better? What are your other options? Have you tried all the options? What do you think, if you go again, what do you think you should be doing and avoiding? So these questions, but by throwing these questions, the coach helps the coachee to explore the different options, to explore the different alternatives, and start. So here in this stage, the answers and the solutions will start to pop up in the mind of the coachee. So this stage is very important, and it gives coaching its own essence, its own uniqueness comes from this step. After being a good or a very excellent, good listener in the reality stage, you start asking about the different options or different alternatives. And finally, another very important step that you cannot end a coaching session without, which is the will. We have discussed details, we have discussed several options, and you mentioned that you will be doing so and so. So I, as a coach, I will not force you to do anything because you just mentioned that you will be doing 1, 2, 3. All I'm going to tell you, just to take a commitment and end the session with a call for action, that you are going to do what you just mentioned you want to do. Okay, it's not me. Yes, it's about you, but I just want to end the session with a call for action, end the session with commitment that you will have, like, for example, a time schedule to plan for something. If you want to play sports, if you want to lose weight, okay, you said you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what do you think is the most suitable time schedule for you? Okay, I believe 6 months to 1 year. Okay, how are you going to plan it? I'm going to plan it. I will go to the gym 3 times a week. Okay, write them down. This is your plan you just mentioned. Commit to it. Okay, so the last step here is the willingness. Create accountability. You mentioned actions, you mentioned alternatives, and you should be accountable to implement your own words and your own actions. Okay, so this is very brief, the GROW model. If you researched the GROW coaching model, you will find a lot of resources about this model. You can keep reading and you will find examples. You find a lot of details about this model. Okay, the GROW coaching model. You can write it down, you can keep researching. Okay, so again here we are trying to take again each step in further details with examples for questions that can be asked in each step, that a coach can ask in each step. If we start with the goal, okay, here are the examples of the questions that you can raise. What are we trying to accomplish? What are you trying to achieve by the end of this session? Why is this important? What will you gain? Why you want to achieve this? For example, by the end of this session, I just want to know how to release my stress. Okay, great. Why do you want to release your stress? Why do you want to be relaxed? So on a scale from 1 to 10, how will you rate your stress level now at the very beginning of the session? Because you're going to ask this question at the end of the session. The session is usually like maybe can be 1 hour, can be 1 hour and a half. It depends on the person, the relationship, formal, not formal, in work context or on friendly basis. It depends from one situation to another. So these are the examples of questions that you can, through which you can explore the goal stage. What are we trying to accomplish? Why is it important? What will you gain? What do you want to discuss? A very general, open-ended question that allows the coachee determine his or her goals behind this coaching session. Okay, and when it comes to the reality stage, here are example of the questions. Remember what we mentioned, how we define the reality stage. Remember, the reality stage is all about details. I just want to know about the detail. What happened? What's the situation? Why are you here? So keep saying, keep mentioning details. So what's happening? Understand the situation and context. Identify challenges. So what's wrong with that? Um, so why is this very important to you? So can you further explain how did the situation go? So all these are questions that will give you as a coach information about the situation, about the different conditions that the coachee is living in and through which he or she need help in. Okay? Remember, no problem solving. Yes, the coach's role is not a problem solving role, although the coach helps the coachee solving his or her own problem by questions and getting the answers for getting the answers for a particular problem or a particular situation from within the coachee, not from the coach. Okay. And finally, the last stage, which is the options stage. Okay. So facilitating problem solving, brainstorming what the coachee could do, how you want to do it differently. Okay, for example, the coachee tell you as a coach, I have done so and so, and I don't really feel comfortable using this. I don't really feel comfortable using this approach. I don't feel well if I deal with this situation this way. So the question in this case will be, so how do you think you can deal differently? What are the other alternatives? Have you thought about the different options? Okay. And here are examples of key questions here at the very end of the slide. If you could do anything, what might you do? If you were watching this conversation, what would you recommend? If you were to do this, how might you go about it? What alternatives are there? What else can you do? Okay. What are the pros and cons? What do you think are the pros and cons of this situation from your own point of view? So in this stage, we are exploring the different options. And finally, the last stage of the GROW model, as we just mentioned, is the willingness. And in this step, it helps the coachee sort through options without telling them what to do. It helps the coachee get better organized, reaching a solution and getting a commitment on him or herself to take action after the end of the session, of a coaching session. So a key example of key questions in the willingness or the will part, the will stage of the GROW model are here at the end of the slide. Which alternative way forward will you choose? Does this option interest you enough to take action? Can you see most of them are like action verbs, because we are ending the coaching session now and it's time for you to make a decision. It's time for you to choose. It's time for you to take action. It's time for you to plan and take measures to implement what you have been mentioning. Okay. And here's also an example of the GROW model. For example, this is an example of a coaching session. If you go, the letter on the left-hand side determines the coaching stage. So the G, the goal, what do you want to achieve? Reality, what's happening at the moment? Reality again, how important is this to you? Okay, goal again, how would you like to be? Reality, what's stopping you? What's helping you? Options, what could you do or what could you do differently? And finally, the will, what will you do? Okay, it's a call for action usually. Okay, any questions? Okay, so if you have any thoughts before we move from the coaching part, we are moving into a new topic, which is emotional intelligence. Can you drop any comments? We can take like one or two questions about coaching before we go to this new topic about emotional
We
intelligence.
actually have one question regarding the
Okay,
grow model reality.
four, four.
When should we ask ourselves these questions? At what age?
At what age?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, we do not ask ourselves these questions. Okay, these questions we use them with others to coach others. Although, um, well, I'm not really very clever in coaching your own self, but you can explore thoughts going inside your head. You can explore ideas. You can use these questions. By the way, it does not have any age. It does not have a particular age group. Coaching is targeting all age groups, everyone, all managerial levels, all people, different backgrounds. So coaching as a tool and as an approach is not just applied for a particular group or a particular age. You can use it with your kids. You can use it with, if you are a student at the university, a student at college, you can use it. If you're an employee, if you are a manager, if you are an executive, if you are a CEO, each and every one of these people can use coaching. So it's not just restricted to a particular age group. If one sets very high goals, he has the potential to do, but the fear not allow him to accomplish what is necessary for that guy. Okay, so yes, thank you. So this is your role. Setting setting very high goals, setting very high goals for yourself means that you are not honest with yourself, means that you do not have self-awareness. And this part we're just going to talk about now in the emotional intelligence part. Setting goals is a very critical, is a very important stage where before going into this step of setting your own goals, you have to write down your values, and you have to go through different personality assessments. You need to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your abilities, your skills. You need to go through a journey of self-awareness. So your goals that you are going to set for yourself in life have to be smart. They have to be achievable. They have to be compatible with your own abilities. For example, if I'm someone who never reads, I'm someone who hates reading, okay? And it's the New Year's Eve, and I decided to do a New Year's plan, okay? So I want to break this awful habit of not reading. So I haven't read a single book last year, but in the new year, I will write a target of 40 books or 30 books a year. Is this realistic? This is never realistic. And one of the important issues that causes depression is that when you be harsh on yourselves, when you set very high goals that you cannot achieve because you have not studied your skills, abilities, your capabilities, you do not have a good level of self-awareness, and it's normal. It's very normal. It happens to me, it happens to you, and it come by trial and error and by experience. How can I develop my self-awareness? We will explore now when we start talking about the concept of emotional intelligence. Okay.
We have one more question before we
Okay, we'll
proceed
take
with
this
the
question,
question.
then we go. Yes.
Yes. Through the questions of the model, should we choose the W question and verbs which related to the G, R, O, and W?
I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again, please?
Okay. Through the questions of the model, should we choose the W question and verbs which related to the G, R, O, and W?
Okay, so
I think.
the W is the willingness. We actually we reach this stage at the very end of the session. We never reach the W stage unless we have already talked about the issue. We have explored it. We have explored the different options, different alternates, raised questions, and the coachee started to think about potential solutions and write them down. And you, as a coach, will make him write them down. Okay. And after we do this journey, at the very end, just to make our this coaching session fruitful one, you start raising questions that relating to the W. Okay. You mentioned so and so and so and so. You mentioned that you are going to do 1, 2, 3, right? Yes, I have just mentioned this. Okay. How are you going to achieve this? Is there a particular time frame? What do you think that might be potential challenges? When are you going to start implementing this? Would this help you with your problem? So you just want to end the session with a call for action, with something that you make sure that the coachee will go out of this door and start implementing the plan, or they take the actions that he has just mentioned. Okay? Okay, great. So we talked about coaching as a very powerful leadership tool. We also have here one of the very, very another very powerful leadership tool, which is emotional intelligence. And this topic also is of great importance to all levels, all people, different backgrounds, different ages. So before going into exploring this topic, can you please answer this question in the chat box? What is the first word, or what are the first words that come to your mind when you hear the word emotional intelligence? What are the first words, or what is the first word that come to your mind when you hear the word emotional intelligence? I will read the chat box. Face expressions. Not really. Empathy. Excellent, Zikra. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? The ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways. Great. Good answer. Stress. What do you mean by stress? Causing stress or solving stress? Okay. What else? Understand the emotion of faces. Faces do not have emotions. We, as human beings, we have emotions through the heart and the mind, and the face is just an expression of what is inside. So faces do not have emotions. It has emotions only on WhatsApp, Okay. Understand the emotions of face, self-awareness, the ability to understand and deal with emotions. Good. Happiness and success of life. Yes, for sure. Remaining unaffected in dire situation. We'll see. When you don't allow your mind to rule you, not exactly. The ability to control your emotions to achieve the overall mission, and the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Okay, great. Like the saying, use your head and not your mind. No, this is not emotional intelligence. Motivate. Okay, so, well, emotional intelligence is not about controlling your emotions. There is a very big difference between controlling your emotions and dealing with your emotions. In emotional intelligence, we are trying to deal with our emotions. Okay, so just a minute, because there are some surrounding noise, so I will close the window. Okay. Okay, so emotional intelligence is not about controlling emotions, it's not about suppressing emotions, it's about dealing with emotions. Emotional intelligence is about striking a balance between my heart and my mind, the way I think and the way I feel as well. So the concept of emotional intelligence became very important, and it came into light with its name, emotional intelligence, during the 90s, with the famous books for the famous writer Daniel Goleman. You can research Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman wrote two famous books. One is called Emotional Intelligence, and the other book is called Working with Emotional Intelligence. Okay? And through these books, he explored the concept of emotional intelligence and its definitions. Okay, so just asking you here a question. I just want to know your answers, because there are no polls, but I just want to know your answers in the chat box. Do you think a true leader should isolate emotions from work? False. No. False. Okay. Great. False. Yes. True. No, it's not true. Okay. Why it's not true? Okay. It's a big error, or let me rephrase it. It's not just an error, it's a myth. It's a myth that we can isolate emotions. Sometimes we think that we are isolating emotions and we are very strong, but actually this is not true. I tell you why it's not true. It's not true because emotions are part of you. They are part of your components as a human being. Can I go to a meeting and leave my arm? Can I leave my arm at home and go without my arm? So it's exactly like emotions. Whatever emotions you are feeling, you are carrying them. You can never isolate them. And even if you try to suppress them, they are there, they are present. They will always keep making you not comfortable. So isolating emotions is not true. And from here came the concept of emotional intelligence. The more you suppress your emotions, the more you will suffer. So what's the better option? The better option is to welcome these emotions, embrace these emotions, and know how to deal with them. Yes, I know that I'm stressed. I know that I am sad because something happened to, I received a phone call 2 hours ago, and I had a bit of a fight with one of my friends. So just to know and to accept your emotion and to know the reason behind this emotion, this that you are making friendship with your emotions. In this case, you will be able, I cannot promise you that you will erase these emotions and become a very happy man, okay? But I can assure you that you will be much better than suppressing them and not accepting them. And from here came the concept of emotional intelligence. A leader's mood, a leader's state of mind can affect a lot of surrounding people. If your manager, you may find it simple, but believe me, there are many books were written about organizational development tackling this issue. The manager's emotions and personal mood and state of mind can affect the whole organization. Sometimes we go to companies and to famous organizations where the culture is very negative. People are working in isolated islands. There is no clear communication between members. There is no teamwork. People are very negative. The overall environment is very toxic. And when we start our research, we find that the manager or the leader of the organization is the one who created this culture because he deals with them as if they are not human beings. So they are not allowed to admit their emotions, to say what they are feeling. They are not allowed, they are being dealt with as machines. They are being dealt with as in a very inhumane way, as if, okay, we are machines, we take the tasks, we implement certain tasks, and we go home. So we are robots. And we go to other organizations where people do their work with passion. People do their work with love. And believe me, this is real. This is present. This happens in reality. I saw both models. So you as a leader, you have to choose which type of a leader you want to. The one with a negative attitude, whose negative attitude is affecting the whole organization. Why the negative attitude of the leader is negatively affecting the whole organization? Because the leader is trying to suppress the negative feelings that he personally has, okay, and trying to deal with everybody as if there is nothing. But actually there is a lot. And it's always reflected in the way he deals with employees and deals with colleagues. And here comes again the concept of emotional intelligence. Here is Mr. Daniel Goleman, the one who authored the two famous books about emotional intelligence. And he has a very famous saying here, and he said that we are being judged by a new yardstick. A new yardstick, what do you mean? Not just how smart we are or by our training and expertise, but also how well we handle ourselves and others. Okay? For those who are still students at the university, and for everybody, for all people working in different kinds of organizations, the concept of emotional intelligence discovered that there is a wide range of skills, of important skills, according to which people should be evaluated. It was a very common error or a very common mistake long ago, maybe that like 30 or 40 years ago, when people used to read any job announcement, companies 30, 40 years ago only used to care and give a lot of emphasis on academic records and IQ tests. These were the only measures that companies used to evaluate the applicants for a particular job. Academic record, grades, and IQ tests. Until the concept of emotional intelligence started to rise in the 90s. And this man, Mr. Daniel Goleman, told us in his book that there are many, many other important skills that add to the success of a person. They do not just add to the success of the person. You know what? They are even much, much more important than academic record and IQ that we used to put a lot of emphasis on in the past. which is a group of bundle of skills called emotional intelligence. I give you an example. Two students graduated from the same university in the same year, and they both worked in the same organization. One of them was a super student, straight A's, highest honors, and everyone in the college was expecting that this person is absolutely going to be the best and he's absolutely going to have the best future in the world. The other colleague was an average student, like a B minus sometimes, maybe sometimes a C plus. Okay, he was just an average student. Okay, and they both joined the same organization. What happened next? What happened was that the person or the student who graduated with the highest honors, who was very brilliant during to college, started to face challenges dealing with other people, starting to face challenges working within teams, and started to face problems dealing with his managers and working within harmony within the whole organization. And he wanted to do things on his own, and he became totally isolated from the rest of the team, and his promotions and performance appraisals were not actually going very well. The other student, who was an average student, was able to deal differently with people. He became popular. He was able to deal with other people he was able to connect with his colleagues better. He was able to connect with his managers, to establish relationships, to build relationships. On group projects, he was a very cooperative person, and therefore this person has become the star of the organization and got promoted very quickly, and he is now one of the best people within his organization. Why are we saying this story? We are saying this story not to tell you that getting good grades at college is nonsense. No, absolutely, this is not true. You can have both. But we are telling you this story just to make you put a lot of great emphasis on learning a lot of personal skills that can help you develop yourself, your own self, and develop your career as well. These skills are called a group of skills called emotional intelligence. Learning, enhancing, and developing these bundles of skills will help you excel in your life, much more important than just academic records. And here in the slide, the study of emotional intelligence discovered that academic records and natural intelligence, which is the IQ, is only responsible for from 4 to 25% of the success of a person. Can you imagine? Come on. We used to give this part a lot of emphasis in the past. But actually, after long research, they found that natural intelligence or IQ is only responsible for the success for 4 to 25% of the success of the person, because IQ reaches, when you reach a certain age, I guess it's like 21, it maintains and keeps constant. It does not rise. Although when it comes to the bundle of skills of emotional intelligence, they are responsible for an average of 70% of the success of a person. 70% of your success depends on the group of skills of emotional intelligence. You know what's the good news here? The good news here is that IQ, as I just mentioned, reaches a certain age and became kind of stagnant. No further improvements. But the best And the good news about emotional intelligence is that it contains a bundle and group of skills that you can keep learning and developing for your whole entire life. And they are responsible for 70% of your success. Can you imagine? And so we will discover now what are these bundles of skills that create emotional intelligence. Okay? That's right. Here is our pyramid. In this pyramid, there are the different skills, the different phases, the different bundles of skills that create emotional intelligence. At the base of the pyramid here, we have self-awareness. Self-awareness is the first stage. Through the skills of self-awareness, which is, I believe this stage is the most important of all. You know what? Because self-awareness is an infinite stage. It never ends. We are all in a journey of self-awareness during our whole entire lives. So self-awareness is knowing your own self, knowing your emotions, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, areas for improvement. And then after knowing yourself, you go for the next phase, which is self-regulation. How to regulate yourself, how not to lose your mind, how to deal with your emotions, how to not make your emotions hunt you and control you, how to make friendship with your emotions and express them in a balanced manner. Then we have self-motivation, how to create motivation for your own self, how to motivate yourself, how to have a plan, how to have a goal in life. Then we go to empathy. If you can see here, the first three bundles of emotional intelligence, they are self-motivation, self-regulation, self-awareness, or self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation. What do you realize? What do you realize in these three? Yes, exactly. You're right. They are all start with self. So before fixing any relationship with others, I have to start by fixing my own first. That's why we start with taking care of ourselves. Okay? So from the safety and security measures on a plane, if there are any turbulent situation, and there are like when masks drop, you must wear your own mask first to help others. Okay? So self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, then we go to empathy, how to be an active listener, how to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and finally, this will automatically lead to effective relationships. Okay, so this is the practice of self-awareness. The self-awareness is a very important stage, as I just tell you. So, okay, how are we going to enhance our self-awareness? We are going to enhance our self-awareness by applying several tools. There are many psychometric assessments that you can do online. There are many tools. Here is one of the tools that can help you. It's a very, very simple, primitive tool that you can use on your own. Have your coffee and have this page in front of you and start to make a journey inside yourself. Think about your own strengths. Think about your own weaknesses, or I prefer areas for improvement. I don't like the word weaknesses. They are areas that we need to improve. Think about what are the opportunities that your strength can create opportunities. Am I using all my strengths in a very effective way? Or I have some very good qualities, and I have some very good areas of strengths that I'm not actually using. I'm not actually getting benefit of. And finally, threats. Weaknesses create threats. There are some weaknesses that if we do not take action and start to improve, They may threaten us at work, they may threaten our lives. If, for example, someone who is extra super nervous in many situations, this will cause him harm at work and harm at their personal life as well. So try to, this is your homework, try to work this personal SWOT analysis. Get a paper and a pencil or a pen and start writing your own strengths from your own point of view, own strengths, own weaknesses or areas for improvement, opportunities that your strength can create. So strengths create opportunities, weaknesses, you judge, you are the judge here. If there are weaknesses that you cannot, that are really causing you continuous problems and you're not planning to improve, so this may cause you threats. So try to explore yourself, your abilities, your capabilities. And from my own humble suggestion, there are very famous psychometric assessments that you may find online. Some of them, I think, with minimum fees, and some of them are open for public. These are like the major, main important psychometric assessments that I advise you to take your time and go do these assessments. These assessments assess your own leadership styles, your own strengths, areas for improvements, your own personalities. They are very famous, accredited, well-known assessments. These assessments are MBTI, Myers-Briggs, DISC, DISC, and Enneagram. These are among the most famous personal psychometric assessments worldwide. You can choose one of them, you can do all of them online. So by doing so, these are tools to enhance the awareness, your self-awareness, knowing yourself better, knowing your abilities, strengths, and knowing your capabilities. Okay, so this I will stop here for the self-awareness part, and next time we will continue with the self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and the effective relationship part. Okay, so any questions are most welcome. Thank you very much.
We have one question before the session ends. Does the coach lead the discussion or not?
The coach never leads the discussion. Well, this is a tricky question. The coach leads by questions, okay? The coachee is the leader. The coachee, the one who is being coached, is the leader, okay? What do you mean by the leader? I mean, he sets the objectives. He has the floor to talk as he wants, okay, without any interruptions. The coach leads by asking questions that may help the coachee explore different options, okay? But in a coaching situation, the coachee is the leader, not the coach. The coach's role is to know how to ask the right question. And as I mentioned last session, this is not an easy task at all. You may think that it's easy, but we actually kept trained and we were taught and we were trained on this on coaching for a whole year, because it's not easy, because people always tend to listen with the intention of answering, with the intention of providing solutions. They tend to listen with the intention of interrupting. So just concentrating and listening and leaving the floor for the coachee without playing the Mr. Fix-It role, without playing the mentor role, is not easy at all. It needs practice, patience. You have to practice patience, and you have to practice effective listening, and you have to concentrate very well, because you have to know at the moment the coachee stops speaking, it's your role to ask the right question that will lead the coachee to solve his own problem.
Okay, we have some questions in the Q&A section. Is empathy a bad emotion?
Not at all. Empathy is to put yourself in someone else's shoes. So some people expect, especially in the coaching situation, the coachee expects empathy from the coach. So empathy is listening with passion, is dealing with passion with what you are listening to, interacting with the speaker, giving the speaker verbal and non-verbal signs that you are connected with him, that you care, that you are listening with passion, non-verbal clues or verbal clues. Okay, for example, that's why I prefer, when I teach leadership, I prefer to teach, or when I teach any topic from management or soft skills, I prefer to teach it in a workshop context. Why I prefer to teach it in a workshop context? Because the floor is always open for people to participate, to share ideas, to ask questions. So this make me, as a trainer, make me sure that whoever is not understanding is able to raise question, is able to rephrase, just to make sure that I just want to make sure that my message is received. How am I going to make sure that my message is received if people are not empathetic listeners? So I keep talking, 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 no signs of anything. Okay, bye, I'm leaving. But when there is empathy, people share, people get more involved.
Okay, great. Another question,
Sure.
how to make your nerves friendly instead of suppressing?
How?
To make your nerves friendly instead of suppressing.
Well, you have to know your emotions. How I'm feeling right now. Okay, you have to accept that it's okay that you 1 day or 2 days that you are in a bad mood because something wrong happened, and you are not a robot, you are a human being, and it's okay to have 1 or 2 bad days. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to feel negative. Okay, so don't just panic when you have these feelings, because you must. If you're not having these feelings, you're not a human being. So this is life. You have to know your emotions, you have to accept them. Okay, and sometimes I go to work in a cheerful mood. Sometimes I'm stressed and sad. And if any of my colleagues ask me, okay, I'm not really feeling well today because I feel a bit of stress. I have a problem because I am a human. And I will try to do my job. I will try to do my best at work, um, within my own limits.
Okay, thank you for your time. I hope you all enjoyed the session today.
Thank you,
Please
everybody.
note that we still have one more session next Tuesday,
Yes, sure,
28th September.
sure.
For those who missed previous lectures, you can visit Arab Gore's YouTube channel, where all sessions are recorded and uploaded.
Sure.
So that's all for today. Have a nice rest of the day and see you next Tuesday.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Again, my great pleasure to be with you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.